So my name's John Cousins, and like Alberto said, I'm an entrepreneur just like you guys. I have a company called MBA ASAP. You can look it up on your websites there and stuff. And basically it's I like to consider myself a distiller, right? I distill business information, so it's MBA ASAP. That's kind of information as soon as possible. And I do it through blog posts and ebooks and paperbacks and audiobooks, and they're all available through Amazon. And I blog on a platform called Medium. And I have a bunch of online courses on Udemy. And I have a podcast called MBA ASAP. Please listen to all the episodes and give me a good review on iTunes and Google Play, and Stitcher. And so I do all those kind of things, put it all together, and I'm working also bringing that kind of MBA information into simulations and gamification, where to sort of engage people in ways. I see you nodding and getting your PhD in educational technology and processes to really measure. There's all these tools now to measure engagement and learning and make sure people are really learning the subjects. As Alberto said, I've started about 7 companies. 2 were successes, 3 were middle, and 2 were abject failures, to a degree. But you learn a lot actually from as much from failures maybe as from successes, arguably, right? So 2 of those companies I took public, which is sort of the holy grail of exits, where you take a company and then you have a big payday, right? At the end of the day, when you're an entrepreneur, everybody wants to know what's your exit. Either somebody's going to acquire you, like Google or Facebook, or you're going to take it onto the public markets and then sell stock and get money that way. I did that twice, IPOs, and then I was a CEO of public companies for about 10 years and a CFO, that means Chief Financial Officer of public companies, for about 15 years, my companies. And so I've done all the 10Ks, all the 10Qs, all the reporting in those ways that a public company has to do. I don't know. I just want to take a sort of a poll. How many of you are undergrads? And how many are MBA students? Excellent. So about a 50-50 kind of mix there. So you've probably, how many of you had accounting? Excellent. And how many of you had finance? Corporate finance. Fantastic. So this stuff will all be relatively familiar to you. I'm talking to an educated crowd here, so that's really great. So I took 2 companies public, did all that kind of stuff, Sarbanes-Oxley, all those rules, worked with those for a long time. Migrated out of that into teaching, and I've been teaching for about the last 10 years, and as I was doing that, I teach here, as Alberto said, and I teach for Webster University, and for University of Phoenix, and for one called Brown Mackey, and I taught all the business subjects. I teach the whole gamut of them, everything. So that's when I started thinking as an entrepreneur, as I was teaching, you talk to a number of students, but how the heck could I scale this, right? How could I make this into something that's more than just teaching one time and just to the few people that are in the room? So that's when I started thinking about writing the books, and as I was doing that, getting all the information together. So that's what I've been doing for the last 10 years, and the teaching and all, the interaction is sort of my laboratory, right? Where I get to see if what I'm saying, any light bulbs go off, or if everybody's sort of like looking at their watches and in their computers, then I know that maybe what I'm saying is not that interesting. So I've been able to dial in my material that way. And from having a lot of time in actually doing the work, like of a CFO and CEO, when I teach and I'm presented with a textbook that's like this thick, 800 pages, and every possible contingency of every subject, I started to realize, wait a minute, there's only about maybe 100 or 50 pages of that's really super important, and those are the core concepts. And once you have that as a context, then you can fit in all these other sort of more marginal things that may happen, or maybe you never see them if you're not in a particular business or something. So what I went back to do, that's why I say I'm a distiller, I went back and distilled that information into its core concepts, and that's basically what I present. Because I feel from a pedagogical standpoint, from a teaching standpoint, from an understanding standpoint, that you learn best when you have a context that you can fit all these kind of different informations into.
MBA ASAP. M ASAP.